What is going on? I'm Zedmont coming to you from semi-vacation spring break. Drove a little ways yesterday. I was in the passenger seat. Thankfully, during that passenger seat ride, managed to go from 17 up to 21 while drinking some adult beverages in the passenger seat. So wasn't super stoked on this season. I lost interest fairly early on, but then figured, you know what, we have 6 engine rooms, might as well do some pushing. Managed to go, like I said, 17 up to 21. This was all for me. 90% of my attacks yesterday were 3 heavy chopper, 5 rocket chopper. Not fun. You're just kind of babysitting the troops. Hopefully season 21 is more fun. Protos, there's lots and lots of protos. Not sure if they're going to add a new troop or not. Really hoping that they do. That's a perfect opportunity to do so. Speaking of perfect opportunities, right now for 3 days we have 90% off all troops, which means that super cheap on the diamonds. Also, you're going to be just flush with gold. So what I'm going to show you is a slightly different strategy. I'm calling it less is more. So if we were to bring, say, Zukas or Scorchers or whatever against this base, and we wanted to get to the back of the base, we'd have to do like a side flare and then possibly 3 smokes across the front, and then we'd do a back flare to get back in here. And I will explain this more in a second, so do stick around. This is not just me being absolutely ridiculous. This is a great way to plan how much gunboat energy you're going to have at the end of your attack, by the way. As you can see here, we're going to get to the back of the base with about 79 gunboat energy. That's great, but because we have the GBE tribe, but we can do far better than that. 90% of the bases you're going to come up against can be beat using 4 or fewer boats of troops. And by doing that, we can go like this. We can use our flags to get into position right there. Then 1 flare to get to the very back. You'll see we have just as good of smoke coverage, possibly even better smoke coverage this time, just because I'm doing it for the second time. And then we're going to get into the back with 101 gunboat energy. So huge upside. If you don't have as many gunboat energy statues as me, then this is going to be super useful for you. And using 8 boats of Scorchers makes not a lot of sense. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to barrage this right here grappler. That is all we care about. Everything else is front loaded. Most bases are front loaded. Now I'm going to do this with a few troops, so don't just shake your head and say, but I hate Scorchers, because we're going to do this with Zukas, we're going to do this with Bombardiers, probably with Grenadiers as well. So do stick around. See, using those flags, and then back we go. Should be able to get to the back with tons of gunboat energy. You'll see that because we had to use Scorchers, they're going to cost some gunboat energy as well. We can also skip those last few smokes because there's no boom cannons anywhere within range. And then we're just going to cruise to an easy victory. I think it's very unlikely that anything's going to get in our way at this point. We can just keep barraging all of the things. I am way overusing barrage right now. Basically not using artillery at all because my goodness, is barrage ever fun right now. And then we're just going to cruise into behind this base and take this down using 2 boats of Scorchers. Now, not only is it look good when you share it with the people in your task force that you're using 2 boats, but it's also a great way to learn how to place your smokes. Not having to worry about more troops makes it far easier to take down bases. So I do recommend doing this. It's not just for the lols. It actually has a great purpose. You're going to have extra gunboat energy to throw out using critters and barrages and all of the things. So do give this a shot, and not just with armor. I mean, you can do it with tanks, with Scorchers, yes. Scorchers are probably the most effective, especially since they added the second Scorcher in, but just crushing bases, super easy. I'm not having to worry about smoke gaps nearly as much. You're not going sideways and then backwards. Everything is in one direction. So now that that's done with Scorchers, I'll show you that with Zukas as well. Now with Zukas, I like to use brick because you get more oomph out of it. You can shock bullet in place, but generally speaking, brick is a better option. Now we're going to do exactly that. Now we probably could beat this base with 2 boats of Zukas, but I'm going to use 4 just to show you what I'm trying to do here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then your brick drop your flag for brick slightly behind. That's going to make sure that she gets underneath those smokes as fast as possible, and then just cruising up the side. Now, there are shorter paths to get towards that core, but we are not going to be taking the shortest path because I want to get all of these troops all the way to the back, and then we can do a nice little end around, or whatever the heck the term I'm trying to think of is, and get all of our troops into that kill zone. Only one smoke, one flare in one direction, keeping things as simple as possible. And then we're just going to go like this, and all of our troops are going to be in a perfect little kill zone. Whew, this is a little bit nerve-wracking doing all of this live. Not doing any sort of canned attacks here, which means that if I screw up, you're going to see all of the screw-ups live right in here. Medkits for the win. Only needing 4 boats of Zookas. We lost 2 of them, I think. Not the end of the world. And the beautiful thing about this, if you don't have instant training, if you lose half your boats, not a big deal, because you still have the other half and you can keep clearing your map. It's going to go very, very well once you get it figured out. I highly, highly recommend this. It's going to make things more fun, but it's also going to make things more interesting, and you're going to learn more good stuff. Now, I'm going to mix in, I'm going to go with Bullet up front with the Grenadiers, and the Grenadier tribe right now is so good. The Grenadiers with the speed, we're going to boost that right now because we're going to have tons of gold that we can convert into raw crystals. And I think I have a bunch of upgrades to do as I'm only level 70, but we're just going to keep attacking. And looking at my boats looks a bit ridiculous, but worst case, if it comes down to it, if we absolutely and utterly screw up, we can just drop those Scorchers up the front, assuming we have the gunboat energy, and could, in theory, get the rest of this base down, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. Here comes our one smoke. Grenadier, Grenadier, Grenadier. Probably should have dropped Bullet first. I completely forgot that I've got the Grenadier tribe and that we're going to have to be a little bit careful when we're smoking our troops. This is going to be incredibly difficult to smoke Grenadiers, but so satisfying in the end. Getting all of our Grenadiers back into here, and now we can see exactly how much gunboat energy we have left and get rid of this shock launcher right about there, throwing one more shock out, trying to get all of this stuff, and now we can just clear all of this as Bullet takes shots to the dome. Our Grenadiers clear the rest of the stuff, and Grenadiers probably aren't the best option as far as only using a couple boats worth of troops, simply because smoking them is going to be very difficult right now, but it's going to be entertaining and fun and partially ridiculous. So just need Bullet to get back out front, hopefully, as those Grenadiers are going to overthrow and hopefully take down that shock blaster as well, assuming that Bullet actually gets back out front at some point, because he is not moving terribly quickly, which is putting this attack in a bit of jeopardy. There we go. Bullet's back out front. That's exactly what we were after. And now the rest of our Grenadiers should be able to just keep overthrowing, hitting all of the buildings around and behind. You'll notice that back shock blaster is about to be gone. That boom cannon over there. Also, I mean, Grenadiers missing is so good. That attack would have been so over had these Grenadiers not been missing, because that shock blaster behind the core would have taken down all of our troops. We can see this person's got at least 1-2 ice statues. Hopefully this microphone doesn't sound terribly awful. I left my good mic at home. This is my son's headset for his device. Also, I'm in an incredibly empty, echoey room. So do let me know how this sounds, what this looks like, all of those sorts of details. Always a bit weird recording on the road, but I figured season 20 is over. 90% off Troop Mania is here, and I've been wanting to get this less is more sort of theme out there for a little bit. Now, Bombardiers are likely going to be a better choice. Now, if you're wondering why I'm not using medics, smoking medics, not super duper effective, but you can do it. I'm trying to show how to make things easy, and smoking medics is not an easy task. All you really have to do is make sure your troops take some damage, but it's not exactly the easiest task to do so. So hopefully this gives you some ideas of how you can make your attacks better. Even though it seems like we're just trolling and being stupid, there's a lot of reason for this. It's not just stupid. There's a lot of good stuff here. 1, 2, 3. And now you'll notice that I dropped my flags for my Bombardiers farther behind Bullet, and that's specifically because I want Bullet to clear all of the mines. Bombardiers have decent amounts of health, but not all that much. So we're going to let Bullet walk over the boom mines, hopefully clear any shock mines, and Bullet in general is going to do our best to keep our bombardiers alive because we definitely need our bombardiers at this point. Now, the other thing you can do is you can mark things. I was going to say buildings, but you can basically mark buildings. And what that's going to do is that's going to tell your bombardiers which buildings they need to target first. And then we can throw a shock right about there, and just let those critters distract all of the nearby buildings. So bombardiers should, in theory, nope, I guess that grappler was too far away, so they did not attack the grappler like I was hoping, but Bullet should still be able to get out front there. Probably need to flare that grappler, in fact, before it comes in and ruins our day. Bombardiers hiding in behind Bullet. Bullet's going to take all the shots to the dome. Notice that I actually used energy drink this time. Taunt will work as well, but I find that having Bullet on energy drink just means that you can keep pumping up his health. Don't need to taunt nearly as much because Bombardiers have so darn much range. So that is my video for the day. Going to keep it fairly short just because I don't know how this is sounding. I noticed that my game audio is off. Thanks for your patience on that. Also, today is Hammerman's Fleet. I'll be doing that later on, holding intel in our task force right now. Speaking of our task force, this is Triangle 9. We have spots up and down our lineup depending on what level you're looking for. So if you're looking for a task force, do let me know. We will try our best to accommodate you. Fairly full at the moment. Also, do consider throwing creator code ZMOT in your boost box. Probably don't need instant training right now. Using diamonds probably a better bet if you've expired right now, waiting for season 21 to start, also waiting for the mega crab to start. So if your instant training has expired, might want to consider delaying 3 days if you've got a good cache of diamonds. Cache? I never know how to say that word. Nonetheless, as always, thank you for coming in. I'm Zedmont.